What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about why I am getting Dispatch. This is a video series I do where I talk about an upcoming game and talk about whether I'm getting it, not getting it, or am somewhere in between. And look, for this game, I just wanted that release date, and we got the release date, and it's lined up rather well, that now we can make a video like this. This is a game I was waiting for. You know, the year was ticking down. We only had so many games left that needed dates, and some of them actually still don't have dates. Mouse PI for Hire, amongst others, but Dispatch gets the date, of course, October 22nd. You pay one lump sum and you get 2 episodes per week for 4 weeks, right? 8 episodes in all, 2 a week. I am very, very excited for this. And look, there is a lot of prove it kind of energy going on around here. Like I am excited, hence why I'm making a video of why I'm getting the game. I played the demo. Demo was awesome. But there is still, of course, like, all right, well, you do have to prove it. Like, the game has to come out, and the game has to, I think, strike a balance that we've had before, but for whatever reason is like ever more rare. You know, this is, of course, a development team that kind of split off from Telltale. We know their history. We know they worked on The Wolf Among Us 2 and I guess left it for dead in Telltale's hands, of course. But no, I mean, this is a studio that has a lot of legacy, and they've worked on a lot of games that do nail that formula that, you know, I'm about to talk about right now, right? Like, look, there's that emotional kind of beat, right? These stories aren't just all fun and games. There is a lot of comedy. They've always been at their best. They've always been very witty. They've always had very likable characters, but characters that did have depth and characters that could be very, very funny, but, you know, there was more there. And that's really what makes these games so special, right? Kind of key decisions, these key moments in games, whether it's cinematic, but at most times it boils down to decision making, you know, what you're going to choose in a pinch that will determine, you know, an outcome. And you think about the greatest Telltale games, you think about Life is Strange, which I think is right up there with the absolute best Telltale games. Like, these are the games that, well, when you think of the best of them, those are kind of the elements, right? They have amazing characters, they have amazing story, they have some comedy, at least maybe more of the Telltale style. Life is Strange can be funny, but it's more Telltale, right? It's got that wittiness, it's got those characters that have a lot of depth to them, it's got those key decisions. And now look, there's one element to it that I haven't said, right? It's gameplay. Gameplay has always been a thing that's lacked from the very beginning, from Telltale's The Walking Dead, a game that I remember very fondly, and I think that all of us love it. But, you know, it's all of these games really don't have the gameplay element. They are held together by everything else, and that's okay. I will play. Look, if you give me a game that's as good as The Wolf Among Us or Tales from the Borderlands or Life is Strange 1, I don't care what you do in the game, like moving around. I could care less about the controls because the other stuff is important. But what Dispatch hopefully can provide is literally the entire package, right? The idea that, well, you would actually be missing out on something because, truthfully, you could watch people play pretty much any of these games I've already mentioned. And in terms of the actual feel of them, there really is none, you know, because that's just not what they're shooting for. Well, this game has the actual dispatch kind of feature, right? You're sending these heroes or these wannabe heroes or heroes that are kind of trying to work themselves into being heroes. You're sending them out. You're sending them into situations that you have to make those decisions on very, very quickly. Now, you know, in terms of the demo, that's really what it showed, right? Is that, you know, what is choice and consequence? When you think about choice and consequence for these games, you think about it in the story moments, 2 characters talking to each other. Now, the trailers we've seen have had plenty of that, right? But what we actually got to play was, okay, you're sitting at a computer. There's 3 random things that are happening in the city. You got to act so freaking fast, and you got to pick the best kind of teams that you can possibly do as quickly as possible and send them out there. And now we haven't had really big ramifications from that, and I assume that's where, you know, multiple episodes kind of comes in. But, you know, I wanted to highlight that because there's a lot of expectations from me on kind of the classic areas, you know, of need and what we want. But then there's, okay, well, what can you do to push and to do something you really haven't done before? And the actual, you know, dispatch kind of feature, that is where they're pushing, right? That's something we've really And it's not necessarily, by the way, the most in-depth in terms of like controls. Like you're still, honestly, you're pointing and clicking is kind of what you're doing, but there's more info coming at you. There is definitely a deeper, almost a strategy level gameplay going on that we just, factually have never had. Normally it's quick time events, which, by the way, I'm a big fan of quick time events. I still am. I grew up in the era of every game having quick time events and it really being turned on, in the gaming industry. I actually have always loved them, so I'll take them. But obviously this game, doing something a little bit different. So I'm pumped. I talked about, I think, when the game got the release date. The one thing I do get a little concerned about is I like the 2-episode thing. Like, I think that's a clever idea, and I like it being episodic and weekly. I think that's something that is a dying art. I think done well, and especially if it's literally consistent, it's fine. I think done well, it actually probably is a positive because you have a lead up to each week, and it's something we've really not had in years. Because I just don't think even Life is Strange Double Exposure, when it kind of split itself in half, like there was a really big ending to part 1, but just, the feel to Life is Strange wasn't there, I think, anymore. It's been a long time, and even, like, The Expanse wasn't big enough. I wouldn't say that really captured it, to be honest, because there just wasn't enough there. But when it comes to, like, the past, like, yeah, there was a lot to it when it was Tales and Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead. But you know what? Those were so freaking sporadic, and they couldn't nail the release schedule to save their lives. So, not necessarily these people, but just people in general. So, hopefully this is good. But the one thing I will say in terms of a weakness is 2 episodes a week, and you do it weekly. So are these episodes like 20 minutes long? I think there is kind of a balance. It's kind of an art, to be honest with you. Again, you think about those episodes of some of your favorite episodic games. They're not 20 minutes. They're not 30 minutes. I looked at Life is Strange, probably is one of the better ones. Those are all very meaty. If you do everything, those could be 2.5 hours, and sometimes there's like a short episode, like episodes 3 or 4 or something could sometimes be an hour, and the rest could be 2.5 or even 3 hours. So that's something that I'll have to see, because I'm not going to be thrilled if each episode is like 20 minutes. And so, yeah, they come out weekly, but you have less than an hour's worth for 4 weeks. Like, I guess it's quality over quantity. Like, if you're doing the absolute best quality possible in that time, it's okay. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm willing to give them a chance. I respect the heritage. I respect, where they came from, and I'm excited for it. I really am. Hopefully this can be not just, we can't get Wolf Among Us so we can get Dispatch. Yes, it can be viewed like that, but let's make a mark, you know what I mean? Like, let's show episodic stuff can work. Let's show that this team is unbelievably talented, and we'll have to get ready for their next game like right now because it's so good. Like, there's a lot of things they can prove to us, even beyond, okay, well, Telltale, who even freaking knows, they're MIA, so at least we have this. That's that's kind of saying, well, they're like second up, right? Let's prove that we're the best. Let's prove that you want to get more excited for us than you ever would for Wolf Among Us. That should probably be the goal from them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.